How did you find out that the show was looking for a script?
A script?
Yeah.
Well, in the 6th season, there was a hint that we were going to have a writer's strike, actually. And the features were going to be made, and a lot of people were looking for work. And we ended up not having that story. But that's actually was the impetus. And my agent said, well, let's get into, maybe we can get you on television and get a few episodes, just have some money in your pocket. And there was 2 shows that were looking for writers. It was X-Files and Xena. Well, there were others, but those were only 2 that I knew well. And X-Files, because Gillian Anderson is such a close friend of mine, I was actually afraid to take that on, to write for a friend.
Really?
Have her go, you suck. And to write for a friend, and to not do well, and to handle all that dialogue, that medical dialogue, actually intimidated me. And Xena was looking for freelancers, and I had watched that show, and I felt more aligned if I could write that show. Plus, I had kind of already knew what I wanted to say. In a sense, I was my own spiritual life. I was getting a little bit uneasy with Xena constantly being angry at herself for the bad Xena period,
right?
And her whole life. And I wanted her to kind of it's a very high, it's a little bit of highfalutin spirituality, but I wanted her to understand that each step led to the next step, and that she had to have that to have where she is now and to appreciate it, and understand why it happened. So I actually I'm better suited for that show. Plus, Jillian's still speaking to me.
So then you write this script, and all of a sudden you become one of the icons of the show where the fans are concerned. So what have the Xena fans meant to you since you did that?
Well, first I'm going to say the most self-deprecating thing, and that for all the positive reinforcement, I get just as much negative reinforcement on the Xena for writing that episode. So I get just as many people who dislike that episode felt I'm true to the characters. It's usually the people that are more invested in the shipper mentality, I guess you'd say. I'm learning the lingo. So help me out here. The shipper mentality really seem to dislike me. I've received some very angry emails, and when the episode came out, I got some hate mail. So for I guess it's a balance. I'm always kept in balance too. So for people who appreciated the episode, there's many people who didn't. So I guess I don't take to heart that I am anything more than another writer on the show. But what I do like about having the 2 reactions though is that means I wrote something specific that caused a reaction. If you write really down the middle and you're writing pretty vanilla life, you usually get no reaction. You get kind of a general, that was all right. But it's kind of, it didn't. But the fact that I've gotten reactions like this, like, I hate your guts and you should have never written to that show, you ruined my show too. I thought it was a beautiful episode, thank you for writing it, means that I didn't write something middle of the road or generic, and ultimately that's my goal as a writer anyways. So yeah, I don't remember the other half.
What are the fans and their support, the ones who do support you? I mean, I'm obviously good and bad, but over the year, I mean, obviously, at least I know for a fact that a lot of fans have gone from Xena to Army Wives just because you created it, and we have a connection to you.
That's amazing.
So, I mean, in general, I don't know how to put this. In general, the fans have obviously. You said, I was at a panel discussion one time where you said that the guy was kind of giving you a little bit of a hard time, that you had the rock star mentality because all of us were kind of sitting in the back, and you said, it was amazing that you kind of scolded him that don't make fun of them because I've never had that reaction before. Writers normally don't get that reaction. So, like when you walked in on Friday, you got a standing ovation from the fans at the Xena convention. So, what does that do for you? I mean, what does that mean to you?
Well, it makes me cry. It does, because I think the best way I can explain it is actors are used to that. Say they play a character that people like Lucy and Renee. They understand that they played it as they've given symbols, and they played icons, and that people respond to them. That's what people usually do. They respond to the actor because that's what they saw, that this was in their house. They're responding to their energy, their artistry that they've brought to the role themselves in their own right, deservedly. And speaking only for Renee, because Renee is my very best friend, is that Renee also is a very kind, and she's deserving of that reaction. A lot of actors aren't. A lot of actors will play a character, and that's not who they are, nor do they quite deserve the idolatry that they get. Well, she does. She actually is extremely caring, extremely loving, is one of the kindest people people I know, and giving and supportive, and I think that oozes through her, and that's why people respond to her as much as the character she's playing. So I think it's deserved. Lucy the same way. I just don't have the same friendship with Lucy, but every time I've met her, she's extremely kind, extremely loving, extremely loyal as well. And I would say
those are aspects of you, though, too.
well, they're used to that. They're used to that because that's part of the actor's life, really, is to have fans. I hate that word because it sounds demeaning. It sounds like someone's below you, but to have admirers for their work, that's from the very beginning of Greek mythology and plays and on the stage at an outdoor amphitheater. That's always been part of it. So they're used to that. Writers have always been behind the scenes. They're a step removed. People usually don't even. I mean, I will even say most people don't even know what movies I write, or that I wrote a movie, or that I wrote an episode. They just don't pay attention to the writer. Maybe they pay attention to the director, not in television as much, more in features. But it's just not part of our mythology. So we're not used to having a fan. As someone responds, and somebody recognizes your part in the creative process is not normal in the film business. It is in theater. People know the playwright. They know Neil Simon wrote that play, and they're coming out to see it. They know Stephen King wrote that book, so they go buy it. But it's not in the film or television business. So to have it brought to you and to be recognized it's almost sort of mind-blowing. It always takes me a moment to understand it. And as Renee says, Renee actually scolded me. She says, you need to accept that they do care about you and that they're watching the show because of you. And I can't quite connect it, quite honestly, because it isn't our norm. It isn't the norm. And it had never happened before in my regular featured career with any movie I'd written, and it hasn't happened afterwards. It hasn't happened on Army Wives. I don't even know people know who writes Army Wives. They just know that they love that the show's a military show that honors the wives. They know Kim's in it, Catherine Bell, Bridget, Sally, beautiful women are in it. Very hot men like Sterling and Drew and Brian and Terry and all of them. I'm not gonna. Oh, you're all hot. I'd sleep with everybody. It's like